Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. I've got to tell you, the NFL offseason never fails to surprise us, and this year is no different. As we step into the 2025 season, the NFC South is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing divisions in recent memory. And right at the heart of this shakeup, the Atlanta Falcons are positioning themselves to be serious contenders. But there's a lot happening behind the scenes that could significantly influence their trajectory. Today, we're diving deep into some big rumors, potential moves, and what they could mean for the Falcons' future, especially considering the recent developments around the league that might have ripple effects on Atlanta. First, let's set the stage. Falcons have been building steadily over the past few seasons, making smart draft choices, and developing a talented roster that's finally starting to look like a real playoff contender. But as you know, the NFL is a league of constant change, and the offseason always brings surprises. Now, one of the most talked about stories right now is the potential trade involving Kirk Cousins, a veteran quarterback who, despite being a bit older, still commands respect around the league. The interesting Cousins, who's 36 years old, might soon find himself changing teams again, and the implications of that could be huge, especially for a division rival, the Cleveland Browns. But why are we talking about Cousins in the context of the Falcons? Well, because his potential move to Cleveland could open up opportunities for other teams, including Atlanta, which is always on the lookout to improve its quarterback situation. And trust me, if the Falcons were to get involved in the quarterback carousel, it could be a game changer. Let's back up a bit and look at what's happening with the Browns. They currently have a pretty crowded quarterback room: Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. You might look at that list and think, well, they've got options, right? But the reality is, things are a lot more complicated. Deshaun Watson, for example, is coming off an injury, and recent reports suggest that his time with Cleveland might be coming to an end sooner rather than later. Tony Grossi, a well-respected NFL insider, tweeted that Browns owner Jimmy Haslam called the Watson trade a big swing and a miss, and basically admitted that the team might have to accept that Watson's era as a reliable starter is over for now. That's a pretty strong statement. It's almost a subtle confirmation that Cleveland's front office is looking elsewhere to fill that quarterback spot with something more stable and reliable. So, this leaves us with what? A quarterback room that's somewhat in flux, and a team that's clearly looking for stability. Now, Kenny Pickett was brought in via trade, but that was before Cleveland drafted 2 quarterbacks in the recent NFL draft. The trade was for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 2025 fifth-round pick. Not exactly the kind of move that screams franchise-changing. Flacco, while experienced, is already 40 years old and, frankly, not someone you want to rely on for a full season. Gabriel and Sanders are young rookies, talented certainly, but they need time to develop and aren't ready to take over as starters. And so all eyes are on Kirk Cousins. Even though he's not the youngest quarterback out there, he's still a very capable player, and at 36, he's got a few good years left in him. The big question is, would the Browns actually go all in on moving him? Well, that's where the rumors get interesting. Cousins has a no-trade clause, which means he has to agree to any trade, and he's made it clear he wants to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next season. Rumors suggest he's even had discussions with ownership, like a meeting with Falcons owner Arthur Blank, pleading his case for a fresh start, though that was with the Falcons, not Cleveland. But if the Browns do decide to trade him, it opens up a lot of possibilities for teams looking to upgrade their quarterback situation, and Atlanta could definitely be one of them. Now, let's take a step back and analyze what Kirk Cousins could bring to the Falcons if he joins the team. First, experience matters. Cousins, despite some inconsistent moments, has shown he can be a productive quarterback when surrounded by the right talent. Last season, he threw for over 500 yards and 18 touchdowns, but he also threw a career-high 16 interceptions. That's a red flag, no doubt, but it's also a sign that he's capable of bouncing back and improving. His best season in 2022 saw him throw for over 500 yards and 29 touchdowns, with only 14 interceptions. So he's got the potential to elevate Atlanta's offense, especially with weapons like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and a promising running game led by Bijan Robinson. And let's not forget, the Falcons are a team that's been building a solid foundation. They have a defense that's improving, led by players like Grady Jarrett and A.J. Terrell, and their special teams are also looking strong. The whole puzzle is coming together, and adding an experienced quarterback like Cousins could be the piece that pushes them over the edge into serious playoff contention. The NFC South, as you know, has been a bit of a mess lately. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are transitioning, the New Orleans Saints are trying to find consistency, and Carolina is still rebuilding. This is Atlanta's opportunity to seize control, especially if they can upgrade their quarterback position. Now, you might be thinking, but what about the other options? Of course, the Falcons have drafted some promising prospects, like the rookie quarterback they picked in the last NFL draft, and they might be developing them in the coming seasons. But in the NFL, experience wins games, especially in the critical moments of a playoff push. So bringing in a veteran like Cousins could be exactly what Atlanta needs to make that leap. Plus, with Cousins' leadership and game management skills, he could help accelerate the development of the younger players on the roster, creating a more cohesive and competitive team overall. Of course, there's also the aspect of salary cap and trade negotiations. Cousins has a no-trade clause, which complicates things a bit. But if the Browns are serious about moving him, and Cousins is open to a change, it could happen. The key is that he wants to start, and he wants to do it in a place where he feels valued and has a chance to win. Atlanta, with its rising profile and talented roster, could be a very attractive destination for him. And don't forget, the Falcons have a strong fan base, a passionate city, and a front office that's not afraid to make bold moves when the right opportunity presents itself. Now, shifting gears just a little, let's talk about what this means for the NFC South as a whole. The division has been somewhat unpredictable in recent years, with Tampa Bay and New Orleans both having their ups and downs, and Carolina still trying to find its identity after a tough rebuild. But if Atlanta manages to upgrade at quarterback, especially with someone like Cousins, they could very well become the team to beat. In fact, some experts are already predicting that Atlanta's new offensive scheme, combined with improved quarterback play, could make them a playoff team this season. And if they do, they'll be going into the postseason with a real shot at making some noise. But of course, it's all about execution. The Falcons' coaching staff, led by their head coach and offensive coordinator, has been working tirelessly to develop a system that maximizes the skills of their players. If they can get a veteran like Cousins to run that offense effectively, it could be a recipe for success. And let's not forget, the NFC is tough, with teams like San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Detroit all vying for supremacy. But Atlanta's combination of talent, youth, and now, potentially, experience at quarterback makes them a team that no one should overlook. Now, what could be the drawbacks? Well, Cousins coming to Atlanta isn't a certainty. There are still hurdles: his no-trade clause, the financial considerations, and the team's overall strategy for the future. But the fact that he's even considering a move shows that he's interested in finding the right situation where he can start and compete. And for the Falcons, it's about weighing that opportunity against their own plans for development. They could decide to stick with their young quarterbacks and let them grow, or they could take a risk and bring in a proven veteran to accelerate their timeline. In the end, this potential move could redefine the Falcons' offseason and set the stage for a very exciting 2025 campaign. Imagine a Falcons team with a seasoned quarterback leading the offense, surrounded by young, talented playmakers, and a defense that's steadily improving. That's a recipe for success, and it's exactly what Atlanta fans are hoping for. The NFL offseason is a time of hope and possibility, and right now, the Falcons are sitting in a position where they could make a splash that resonates for years to come. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Is Kirk Cousins the missing piece for Atlanta to finally break through and make a deep playoff run? Or do you believe they should focus on developing their young quarterbacks and building from within? It's an exciting debate, and your opinion is what makes this community so special. The NFL offseason keeps us guessing, and the NFC South is shaping up to be one of the most competitive divisions in years. The Falcons are right at the center of it, and whatever happens next, it's going to be fascinating to watch. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. We're in this together, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this team. Thanks for being here, and as always, stay passionate, stay loud, and keep that Falcons spirit alive.